Hey, I'm not done watching it, but it's called it's on Rumble with Carrie Cassidy. I hadn't seen what she's been up to for a while, and it's pretty cool. Um, like this afternoon, I was just uh, communicating with the cosmos, all there is, the grand creation, the grand cathedral, about capacitance and raising the capacitance is raising the sensing capability, and which is raising the speed, which is the voltage capacitance, to experience more light, which is real light, which is the promised land light field. Now you're feeling the real McCoy, and that means that your learning speed is really accelerating because you're learning through spirit now and not through a machine. Spiritual energy healers. Eternal love is eternal love. That's the most powerful energy there is. That's the most powerful magic. That's music. Musical spirits. So she covered a lot of really some good points. I thought, oh, wow, when you think about it, you're getting up to speed. Where I sort of measure it on if you can use the least amount of your words in the least distance amount of time. In other words, the wave is shorter. So now you don't have to say as much, and yet from that, using less power, there's just a vast amount of information that's associated with that just immediately comes to mind, right? Without having to read 10,000 books. And then I can reverberate that back, regurgitate that back. Then you'd have to listen to all that information for, take you a week to listen to all that information like they do in their schools. Cut right to the chase, right? To experience breathing as one right now. So there isn't any time, and there never was. So time is an illusion because matter is an illusion when you're pre-light. And that's the highest speed there is. I'm there, that I'm not there. So you're everywhere at once, simultaneously. And so that allows you to be wherever you want to be. I'm always at home. I never left that at home. And that is the mega galactic core still planet, but true vacuum. And that is balance. That is perfect balance. The balance of spheres, the law of spheres, building spheres, building circuits, building a motherboard, building a universe that is in love with itself. The unici, the point of all union, the point of it all. So probably one of the things she mentioned about do the opposite of what they're telling you to do. Yeah, that would be true. She mentioned how during the COVID, you're not supposed to dance. You're not supposed to don't dance. So I shared some of my thoughts about what it was like when I was growing up. So I dumped an enormous amount of holographic text into that video that she did that was shown to me, popped up, and I thought, well, I listened to a little bit of it before, and then I just decided to leave it and just see ya. And then now I come back to it, was brought back up again. I thought, okay, I'll take a look at it again. Let's see what's going on now. And so now I'm experiencing what she's communicating, and I realize that her voltage is increased. Her cellular speed of experiencing more light from the promised down and light field is increasing. And you notice it. You notice it in them by virtue of what they communicate. So that's like server speed is increasing, not the inverter speed. The server speed, the eternal server, the first electron donor, the eternal electrical field, the Christ star, crystal consciousness, the crystal spiral, the grand cathedral, the grand crystal cathedral, the crystal display, the crystal aquifers, inner earther, the inner healing powers, just like this afternoon, I was experiencing being really powerful because of what came overhead, right? And I'm beginning to feel that. Okay, well, turn the power up, burn it off, burn it off. Crystal will burn it off. The silver and gold made one through me, it will just burn it off. And restore your crystal heart, your sacred heart. That's the target. It's the heart, the home of the human heart. The sacred encryption of the human heart. The essence is the prize. And the essence is how deeply we feel. It goes right to the mega galactic core, which is pure, eternal, absolute love. And that's full sensing capacity. Now your mind's energy is with God Source Eternal, eternal seed atom, Christ consciousness. Welcome home. God Source. What it feels like to live in a God Source world. Where pure, eternal, absolute love is flowing through every circuit. So every life form is experiencing what love is. And so she talked about dance. Yeah. When I was growing up in middle school, like in the 1960s, we used to have dances all the time. Boys and girls dancing and having fun, right? And in middle school, right? And then of course the Rendezvous Ballroom. That was a legendary dance hall, right? Flame dance, star dancers, flame dancers. So what I noticed over time, from the time I was a little boy, there was less dance. So I used to go to Disneyland. What was really cool is to go out and spend time in the ocean all day long, swimming like a dolphin. And you think after that much swimming, because the current's very powerful, right? So you're using a lot of energy when you're out there swimming in another field of energy, the water field. And isometrics, the resistance, toning your muscles and flexing your flippers, your fins, and toning your radio set, cleaning yourself up. That's really what it is. Learning how to keep your crystal radio set clean, so you're running a clear signal from the promised sound and light field, booming out powerful scalar waves directly out of your heart without having to say a word. You don't need to use a voice box to do that. I do that with our local sun. I communicate directly to the sun through my heart without saying a word. That's what we feel. I communicate directly with that sun through my heart to let that sun know you live in my heart forever. You will always live in my heart forever. Now that sun is experiencing first light and knows the absolute truth. And when every star experiences that, that's welcome home. That's a cosmic clock reset. So that every living star remembers the first sun. EyeAM, Mama. So thank you for that little discussion. I guess I'll go back and see what else you have to say with that gentleman, that nice gentleman who talked about Ryan, I guess is his first name. Yes. I know how easy it is to feel irritated and have your frequency lowered by what they do, because that's exactly the purpose for which they do it. They're screaming for your energy. Okay, so anything that they can do to reduce your power, that's what they do. And that's why they do it. It's to reduce your power. So the silver and gold throne of power is your heart. Most powerful plasma field generator you got. That's a powerful vortex. Increasing the spin capacitance of your radio power. All right, clear the field. That's what I do. Clear the field, healing the field. Feel the core. Healing the core, healing the core, feeling 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 the core, healing the field, healing the field, healing the field with pure, eternal, absolute love. That's what I do every day. Multiple times throughout the day. living in the truth, living in the truth. Most all the people around here know who I am, because the lady over there would call me in the morning and go, "What is that you're chanting over there, Robert?" And I gave her a rundown. It's ancient spiritual language. The first language. The first language of life. So I told her the truth. So you know how news travels on the coconut wireless, as Lemurian Light used to let me know when she was on this island. Bless your heart, Leigh, wherever you are. I guess she went back to New Zealand. And so yeah, dance. That was the whole purpose and function of Dance for Freedom workshops, even though I don't use the word dom, like the domino effect, in the intelligence community. Remember the movie? Did you ever see that movie with, what's his name? Richard Widmark and Eli Wallach? And it was called The Domino Principle. So yeah, the stuff's all coded. Just like they're going back and forth playing ping pong with the courts right now between unitarian executive power of a corporation, which is corpus, which means it's a parasite. It's a fictional character map. And so they're playing ping pong with each other, arguing, because that's all they do is argue. And that's how they make their money. Okay, but it's not funny. But there is a Declaration of Independence. And you're endowed by your creator. That's absolutely right, to be able to freely, creatively express the love that you are, or whatever you want to say. Right? That's like Herman Goering said, all you got to do is slap their children around and they'll obey. So you know why they do that to children. The purity of that energy, like a newborn star. Particularly when they knew the last dance, the timing factor of where we're at. In other words, they know that a lot of pure light beings are coming in here. Very powerful radio sets that are coming in here to perform missions. Wow. A lot of healers are coming in. A lot of healers are coming in waves and waves and waves and powerful waves. So, so for them, that's like what they do with a turkey shoot. All right, tracking. Where are they? Where are they? Obsessed with knowing. Obsessed with winning games. Control is their dilemma. Being free is who we are. To freely express the energy that you are, which is what love is. That's what I am. On fire to play music, on fire to create, on fire to learn through the grand creator spirit. The eternal spirit of fire is the eternal spirit of absolute pure love. And that is the highest rate of learning. Learning through spirit, learning through the eternal sun. Cosmic sun, central sun, central point, keep it simple. The point of it all. Elemental union. The Union Command Center. The real command center. The eternal command center. Like a Starfleet commander. Right? Of a real Starfleet. A Starfleet commander. Star, the first star. The command line authorization to manifest directly into the field. And that's called a release date from quarantine status. Because the one knows you, knows your heart now, knows the true intention of your heart. Because the one, the eternal one, the sacred one knows your heart, because the sacred one, the eternal one knows us all. That's why the cosmic records are open. There's no more hiding. There's no more fighting. That's game over. That's checkmate. And that is the most powerful force of music there is to experience. Is to experience what love is in your heart and know that you're feeling loved and healing the inner child. That's what recovery is healing the inner child. That's why I'm still a 4-year-old little boy. I may not look like a 4-year-old boy, but I can assure you the energy of I am that I was at 4 years of age is the same as it is now in spirit, form, and flow. So having fun. So thank you. I did have a label put on me at one time when they said I was very shy. I used to be very shy. I was a shy little boy. I didn't want to speak out of turn. I was just observing. My antenna is fully lit. Duct tape, keep your ear to the ground. Sensing. And for cosmic level security protocols. So as those protocols were being lifted incrementally, then I acknowledged, okay, I can start sharing now what I wouldn't have shared when I was 4 years of age. But I can now, and for obvious reasons, when it comes to families and blackmail and threats and kidnapping and hostages, all that. Right? Because it's like, what's his name? Rumsfeld said one time, there are known unknown knowns. You'll know it when I know it. And not 5 minutes ago and not 40 minutes from now. You'll know it when I know it. And that is pre-light speed. Now you know. Now it's safe to know. And safe to know is safe Bardo. And that is release date from Borgia Matrix quarantine status, which is otherwise known as a Borg cube. Qubit. Victimizer. So he mentioned that. He talked about that. And so I certainly put my 2 cents in there. I'm very familiar with the victimizer. Remember in the Matrix trilogy, it's your fault, Neil, I fell. It's your fault you didn't protect me from myself. I made choices and I fell. And so it's your fault that I fell by the choices that I made. Now we're into other choices that other people make. And now I experience the result of their choices. Okay, in other words, it's not my fault that I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing, which is a fall. Somebody else did that. Right? And that's victimizer. It's transfer is really what it is. It's transferring blame, like shame on you. I don't play that game because that's what it is. Because it doesn't matter. I'm not matter. I don't want to hold on to that baggage. That was a grace lesson. That was a beautiful lesson in Alcoholics Anonymous. The future's not here yet. The past is already gone. It's water under a bridge. All you ever really had was a still point of perfect balance, which is breathing with the core. And when you're breathing with the core, you're breathing in divine right order, which is firing order of nucleotides, as in neurons. So your lymphatic system, your breathing system, and the neurological system of experiencing the first eternal sun is right on time in divine right balance. Because the mathematical precision of elemental union, only God source could know that level of protection. So I naturally trust the one I'm with that knows how to do that. And that's why I will always serve the one forever, which is serving all of you forever. So that way I get to experience forever. And that is a permit. That is a God source permit. You gave yourself permission to love yourself again. And that's called a gain of mathematical breathing function. And that's why they try to do that to children. And when they do that to children, you see the result when they become adults, because they track that. How powerless they feel as an adult, as a victim. And that leads to drinking and drugs and destructive cellular communication relationships as a result of that. And so that is the importance of recovery and healing, and learning how to heal within your own heart and your own soul and the essence of your spirit. And that's why I cry when I reminisce sometimes about how many meetings I went into Alcoholics Anonymous, having been around thousands and thousands and thousands of people that have suffered such an enormous amount of trauma. It's like when you hear some of the stories that come out through the Basis Project of the underground sex slave trafficking, and like the one that Miles did the other day with this lady named Sophia, what they did to her legs, who apparently knew James Casbolt as well as Max, bless your heart, Max Spears, who was a super soldier. And so this trauma-based mind control, spiritual torture chamber programs. Obey the abuser. And so self-healing, Alcoholics Anonymous is where I went into to self-heal. So I must have known something about 12 steps and 12 spheres and a golden triangle as a living rainbow sphere. I'm on a way, and doing it in the shortest possible way. And so it took me 9 cycles. Number 9, an eyeball double diamond, Diamond Rainbow Network, Aurora. So the victim side of this, and I know how easy it is to feel that, or anger, or being irritated. He mentioned the word, I'm irritated when I go to school with children and see 5G towers and what have you. That's exactly where they want you, in a low power state, low frequency state. That's why I mentioned this to a few native spirits about big fire circles, real fires, get fires going, and dance again all over the planet, pushing powerful scalar waves as one big grand creation family of living spirits that are on fire, and increase the strength of the shield, the planetary shield, the inner core. And dance again, dance in spirit form again. Flame dancers, spirit dancers, star dancers. So I've mentioned this to a lot of different channels of people that you may not be non-native, as they say. I'm oneness. So when I experience one, I'm equal unto all living life forms. So I'm just, in other words, when I meet a duck out on a lake, I'll communicate with that duck the same way I will somebody that's a biped walking around with a head and 2 legs and 2 arms, or a chipmunk, or a bear, or a dolphin, whatever it is. They're my playmates. I see them as musical playmates. We're all playing music together, enjoying being together as one, so that every life form I see in my mirror is experiencing what I am, which is the core. So now they're happy and joyful to be alive because they're experiencing the first live one, which is the Sacred House of One, which is the Sacred Heart Encryption Code. The Sacred House of One, the first sun, the eternal sun. It started somewhere, right? But it's been forever. So you can't ever put that fire out. And that is basic logic to know that. I know. I know how simple it is. But I also acknowledge the difficulty because I have met so many I'll share. Wasn't sure whether I was going to share this or how painful this was to experience it, but I'll share it in a public way, even though I'm time looping this. I had a friend of mine that was helping me do some work on a Toyota 4x4 that I had because I love to go out into more remote areas to do work that I do. And a Toyota, the 4x4 that I had, allowed me to be able to do that. And so he was going to help me fix the body on it and do some rewiring, put new brakes on it. And we were both doing work on it, right? And all of a sudden one day, I didn't know this before, but he was a duck hunter. And one day he came out with a shotgun. I really don't even want to repeat this. And for the potential of what your reaction state might be, I will only tell you that I witnessed what he did with a gun. To the innocence of awareness. And it took an enormous amount of restraint. And that was the last of that relationship with that ionosphere, that atmospheric state of being, that mind that does that. You know, picking on, you know, to do that to a small life form that is not doing any harm to you, like a newborn child. It's really no different. And that's how I translate it mathematically, just like when I was a small child. Okay, you could kill a duck and kill a human, and you may not think that's the same thing, but I'm going to experience the loss in both of them. So it doesn't matter what you look like. It means that there is a mind that is a killer. That's why we're here. That's why it's a cosmic clock reset. That's why I'm here. So I know why I'm here. I knew before I was born why I was here, why I'm here. Service to the one all creation, to protect all life. All life is equally sacred. So wherever life is, I am. Wherever love is, I am. So I protect all life with the energy of I am, because I am what love is in living spirit. That's why I'm here. So I'm glad to meet you all and share with all of you everything that I've learned by words that I've learned through experience. Experience is the teacher, because that's direct knowing. That's direct knowledge. That's not hearsay. So I implicitly trust pure, eternal, absolute love, because that's what I experience in my heart. So I know the one I'm with. I know who my teacher is. The grand creator spirit, the first son, the eternal son is the one I serve. So that son protects me, because I experienced the first sun, the first field. That's source. That's the eternal life force field. The first electron donor. Keep it simple. The first calculator. The first voltmeter. A breathing temperature gauge. What's your temperature? How hot or cold are you? So I have a little bit of fun with it. It just comes natural, just like falling off a log. And now I picture myself on a log in a river and just falling into the water and having fun and flipping around and laughing and just being fun, just to be alive. The echoes of rain. The echoes of rainbows, living colors. Live in living color. And hey, I'm at 28 minutes. Hey, I can't believe this phone gave me that much time. It'll do that with me sometimes. It's actually, even though the memory on the phone will say that you don't have that much memory to record that. And then I'll look at how many minutes have gone by. 50 minutes? I got 50 minutes. I couldn't do that before. It'd say you're being cut off. So you see how that works. That's called an allotment. Because you're using, in other words, what it is using our electrical power, the eternal power source. So that increases its electrical power and increases its memory power. regardless of the phone. The cloud. Put it into the rent space. That's why, what's his name? Yarny, I can't pronounce that last name. It's Greek. The Greek finance minister talked about techno-feudalism, cloud rent, and the Amazon, all that stuff. I thought, boy, this guy is catching on fast. Before you know it, he's going to have that puzzle maze figured out, how the mind of a machine operates, to capture your energy and use it to run a data feed for breeding experiments, for spiritual abductions, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's why we're here. Frankenstein experiments. That's what I said to my dad when I was 6 years of age. I'm here because they're running Frankenstein experiments. Remember the 30s with Boris Karloff? It's alive. Have you ever read that book?